they cut like knife into my heart. When your mother-in-law doesn't like you, like the relationship never works.
I'm not gonna be pressured into marrying anyone.
Then, that letter, Matt, and marriage, I'm not gonna marry.
Jasmine stands at the kitchen table, her hands shaking as she slides open the envelope, paper almost tearing under her grip. The energy in the room flips from nervous chatter to silent, razor-sharp focus in a single second. She pulls out the letter, eyes scanning the first lines, and the blood drains from her face right before Matt. Arms crossed, jaw tight, stares everywhere except at her. Jasmine blinks twice, forces a tiny breath, and tries to steady her voice, but you hear it crack. The whole day has teetered on this one secret. Suddenly, nothing else matters. Welcome to Reality Sport. I'm Oliva, and trust me, you are not ready for what's about to unravel in this wild, messy Thanksgiving showdown. Drop your hottest take in the comments, smash the subscribe button now, because if you thought reality TV couldn't get more real, this episode will change your mind. Is it sabotage? Is it a power play? Is Jasmine's whole future on the line with just 10 sentences on a cheap card stock note? While Matt fidgets, her eyes dart between the words and his blank face. No one's saying a thing. Not even a cough breaks the gloom in this house, tension rising like a pressure cooker on high. You'll catch it in Jasmine's smallest movements. The clench of a fist, the sideways glance, the way hope melts to anger, then to something worse. Is she crying or biting her lip to stop from screaming? The letter sits between them like a live wire. Was this day always doomed? Why is Matt letting her twist in the wind? Are these two really fighting about dinner? Or are they the latest casualties of a battle waged by mothers, secrets, and silent grudges? Before you pick sides, ask yourself, if you were Jasmine, what would hurt more, the words in black ink or Matt's brutal silence? Hours before the letter, Jasmine was all nerves and caramelized onions, in her favorite apron, pacing the kitchen with a list so detailed you'd think she was planning a 12-course wedding feast. Not just an American Thanksgiving for Matt's family. Today was supposed to finally prove something, not just to them but to herself. She could host, she could belong. Every side dish was flavored with equal parts hope and dread, and she rehearsed her welcome speech 3 times under her breath as she spiced the ham. But then, at 6 a.m. sharp, a full 8 hours before anyone was supposed to ring the doorbell, Matt's entire clan burst through the door. No warning, no good morning. Arms loaded with store-bought pies and casseroles. Every voice just a notch too loud. Jasmine's smile held, but her pulse jackhammered. Matt wandered in, half awake, and vanished into the living room like chaos hadn't just walked straight through all her plans. She tries again, offers coffee, adjusts the table setting, double-checks the sweet potatoes, watches Matt chat lazily with his brother, while his mother's eyes laser through every crumb on the spotless floor. The tiny digs come fast. Oh, you went with paper plates? That's practical. So, no turkey? Do you always dress so, relaxed for big occasions? Jasmine's hand shakes just once as she pours more coffee, and she doesn't let herself blink. Every comment is small, sharp, designed to land and then pretend it never happened, and Matt keeps his head down, scrolling his phone. Jasmine whispers to herself that this is the year she'll turn it around, that nobody gets to decide how grateful her house will be. Then, a disaster, wrong kind of ham, no turkey, and Matt just shrugs, whispers a joke to his brother, while Jasmine grits her teeth and says the meal will be perfect anyway. Near the hallway, she hears Matt's mother murmur something low to him, a secret sentence Jasmine can't quite catch, but she sees his jaw tighten. The room stills. Who is this family really here for? Matt's mom moves through the house like she owns not just the space, but the air itself, heels clicking quietly, never outright rude, but stopping at every detail Jasmine missed, picking lint from the couch, adjusting a centerpiece, raising a barely there eyebrow at every choice Jasmine made. When Jasmine attempts small talk, trying to bridge the silence, Matt's mom replies with frozen politeness and not one real smile, letting sentences hang awkwardly in the air. Every question is a quiz. Is this your grandmother's recipe? Oh, must be an American thing. She stares a little too long at Jasmine's leggings before commenting, I guess trends change quickly these days, her tone equal parts judgment and warning. Each time Jasmine tries to pull Matt in, asking for backup or help with the plates, he pretends not to hear, sliding out of the room with a muttered excuse about checking the thermostat or needing to call his brother back about something. Left alone, Jasmine feels the power shift as if someone turned up the gravity. In the kitchen, they stand an arm's length apart, but worlds away. Jasmine's head drums with thoughts of every other holiday she spent feeling out of place, promising herself this would be different, silently begging for the smallest sign of approval while Matt refuses to look up from his phone just a room away. Dinner feels like a hostage situation with cranberry sauce. Every time Jasmine thinks she's nailed something, Matt's mom slips in a compliment that trips her up. Your chicken tastes almost like turkey. Almost. Even the kids pick up the tension, sinking into silence, silverware scraping in place of words. Matt laughs too loud when Jasmine tries to explain why she chose ham over the traditional bird, an inside joke at her expense, her cheeks burning while the rest of the table joins in. Was it thoughtless? Or is he signaling which side he stands on? Jasmine's stomach hardens. With every missed opportunity to stand with her, Matt's loyalty tips further away, and the suspicion gnaws that she's fighting this whole war solo. She studies his face, searching for the smallest crack, a flicker of empathy, something to prove she matters more than his mother's opinion, but every time she reaches out, Matt disappears again, hiding in plain sight. The hidden question grows louder with each bite. Does he freeze to avoid conflict? Or does he want Jasmine to fail? Matt starts moving different as the afternoon stretches on, sliding from neglectful to quietly hypercritical. Jasmine feels it first as a comment. Are you really wearing those shoes? His voice light, like he's joking, but his eyes. He scans her dress, frowns, says it's so she'll feel comfortable, but tries to nudge her toward the outfit he picked out last night, something more appropriate for company. He jokes in front of his mother, you know how Jasmine is, she can't survive without those crazy heels, then mutters later that he doesn't want her taller than him. Not today. Food turns into another measurement, not of taste, but of obedience. With Matt pointing out that her mashed potatoes aren't as smooth as his mom's recipe, and suggesting she skip dessert because ham is heavy enough. Each tip lands like a test. Sly digs that say she's one step away from being wrong. Jasmine feels less like a partner and more like a project someone started than lost interest in fixing. Her teeth grind together as she imagines telling him how small he makes her feel, but the words get stuck behind her tongue. She starts catching herself mid-motion, changing clothes more than once, standing in the kitchen mirror checking her height, her hair, her hands, like an actor waiting for offstage approval. Inside, she's screaming for air, desperate to pull her own life back from this invisible checklist, to stop shrinking for people who offer nothing in return. And somewhere in her chest, Jasmine wonders if Matt's rulebook was written by his parents, or if he really believes this nonsense. Is this how he grew up? Love measured by compliance, dignity traded for peace? Jasmine breathes in, plants her feet, and decides the rules break tonight, even if she's the only one holding a line. No more quiet swallowing, not after the day she's had. Dinner ends with forced applause and quick, insincere wows that stick to the tablecloth like cold gravy. Jasmine watches Matt's mother nod along with the others, but every word is like a side-eye across the plate. Impressive. Considering this isn't a turkey, our family always did things the traditional way. Matt claps Jasmine on the back, flashes a hollow grin, then ruins the moment with, maybe next year we stick to the classics, huh? Her heart jumps, and her hands disappear under the napkin just so no one sees them clench. For a moment, she lets herself believe she's done enough, that the look on his aunt's face is approval, not relief that this awkward dinner is over. But the feeling doesn't last. Instead of gratitude, she gets watchful smiles and thinly veiled corrections about portion sizes and plating, each helpful hint delivered with a syrupy edge. As dishes clatter into the sink and conversation turns shallow, Jasmine slips away, just 5 minutes upstairs, away from company, her face angled from the camera's view. Only then does her mask drop. The silence is heavy. Her breathing stutters. Her reflection in the hallway mirror is glazed with defeat. She pulls out her phone, almost calls her sister, but hangs up halfway through the ring, not wanting to explain tears she's already explained 100 times before. You see the ache in her posture, the exhaustion in her voice, the way joy was sucked from another holiday. Old memories flicker. The last Christmas, when she thought a bigger smile or more time in the kitchen would buy acceptance, and all she got was another year of side notes and sighs. Downstairs, as goodbyes start, Matt's mom pauses by Jasmine, and, after a quiet, unreadable gaze, slips an envelope into her palm. Jasmine doesn't breathe. Whatever's inside, she knows, isn't a thank you card. It's a fuse waiting for a match. Jasmine rolls the envelope between her fingers, tension pulsing in the room as her thoughts race. She remembers all the earlier slights and forced smiles, the way Matt's mom watched her like she didn't quite belong. Each word in the letter feels heavy before it's even read. The air around her thick with what could be's and what ifs. Jasmine hesitates, then tears it open, scanning the text with growing disbelief. The words echo all the things said in whispers, never direct but always threatening. You will never have my blessing. I can't support a life of sin. Your clothes are not modest. Her hands shake as she reads on, stomach turning at the line about wishing Matt had chosen a real woman from his own background, someone who respects tradition. Jasmine's throat clenches, not just with anger, but a kind of exhausted betrayal, knowing every speech she practiced and every meal she cooked was for someone who'd already made up her mind. Matt glances over her shoulder, barely reading the ink, and shrugs with a tight-lipped, almost bored look. I mean, she's not wrong, he mutters, brushing past Jasmine's heartbreak as if family shame were a minor inconvenience. Audience frustration spikes. How can he be this numb? Is it loyalty? Is he trapped by guilt or just paralyzed by conflict? Jasmine's mind spins. Does he fear his mother more than he cares about her? Or is this Matt's way, learned from years of silence and appeasement, of keeping peace by letting her carry every bruise? She tries to hold her ground, refusing to crumble under a stranger's standards. But Matt's next line lands like a stone. Honestly, I sort of agree with my mom. Suddenly, the mask falls off. Jasmine sees Matt not as her partner, but as another judge, another gatekeeper blocking her way home. Jasmine's composure shatters in the quiet right after Matt's words. She sits down hard at the kitchen table, tears sliding down her cheeks without drama or volume, her entire body caught between anger and heartbreak. The letter still lies open in front of her, toxic lines etched into her memory, but it's Matt's voice, flat, apologetic, empty, that bruises deepest. For a moment, she wants to bargain, to explain, to remind him of every time she shrank herself just to be accepted. But the words choke off. Matt circles her with logic, dressed as concern. He says they need to think about family, about raising their daughter right, about setting an example. Maybe it would be easier, he says, if you tried harder, or just let things go. The more he talks, the more Jasmine sees the plan make her the problem, make her fix what was broken before she arrived. She wonders if this is how her story ends, slowly erased until she fits a shape someone else drew. The breakthrough isn't fiery, it's simple and tired. Jasmine realizes she's done. Not dramatic, not even angry anymore, just worn out in that way you get when you finally decide to let go of something that was always too heavy. Marriage, for her, can never be a trophy earned through humiliation, not a prize for surviving someone else's approval game. She looks up and tells Matt the truth, the simplest thing she's ever said. She won't marry for his family, not for his shame, not for anyone's comfort, but her own. Turn to your own memories, the subtle digs, the pressure at work or home to play along for peace. Drop your story in the comments, because sometimes it's the invisible stuff that cuts the deepest. Then, Matt drops the final blow. I didn't want marriage for us. I just thought we owe it to our daughter. Suddenly, Jasmine is no longer heartbroken. She's done being anybody's obligation. Matt's words hang in the air like a careless slap, and everyone watching can almost hear Jasmine's heartbeat spiking in the silence. His eyes are careful, but his mouth moves with all the subtlety of a knife. He tells her there's no grand romance behind this proposal, no deep devotion, just a sense of duty toward their daughter. You should appreciate that, he mutters, taking one last swing at her history. At least I'm not pretending. I don't need to make up fairy tales, unlike your last husbands. The dig lands with a sting that surprises even him. Right away, his face twitches between guilt and smugness. A kid who broke the vase but blames the table for wobbling. Jasmine doesn't shout back, she doesn't throw plates or plead, she simply stops, a frozen ache carving itself into her chest where hope used to live. There's a kind of dignity in her stillness, the strange superpower of women who, when cut down that far, decide they'll never beg again. You see her accept, in a single breath, that love built for appearances will never hold up to the winds already battering this worn-out house. But this is where a smart audience leans in. Is Matt really this cold? Is he parroting his mother, broken by years of small humiliations, stuck in the loop of generational obedience? Or is this Matt's worst self, revealed by the stress of never being enough for two women who keep moving the finish line? Some will argue his cowardice is learned, a survival tactic for boys raised to keep peace at all costs. Others see pure self-preservation, a man hiding behind tradition to dodge the pain of loving fiercely and getting wounded for it. Maybe there are slivers of truth in both. Jasmine's face hardens as she finally drops a mask of her own. There will be no performance tonight, no turning tables or bargaining with ghosts. For the first time, she allows herself to consider a future where Matt's plans don't decide the script. Still, as she picks up her jacket and keys, her hands are trembling, because no matter how wrong he is, part of her will always ache for what might have been if love were simple. The camera lingers, holding its breath with Jasmine as Matt looks up one last time. He starts to speak, stops. Is it another apology, a threat, or a plea for her to stay? The answer hovers between them, suspended, daring viewers to guess which of them will crack first. The house that was full of noise and tension moments before now pulses with a new kind of silence, the sort that presses on your chest and prickles behind your eyes. Jasmine stands in the hallway, jacket half-zipped, car keys clutched so hard her knuckles could split. She doesn't slam the door or storm out shouting, she just waits, wanting some final word from Matt. Maybe an echo of the old apology he used to offer after every late-night fight. Nothing comes. Minutes pass, and the quiet begins to morph into something uglier inside her. A surge of rage at all the wasted chances. Then the cold bloom of numbness that follows when you realize anger wastes energy you no longer owe anybody. She finds herself in the bathroom mirror, hair wild, mascara tangled beneath both eyes, hollowed out but no longer shapeless. For the first time in hours, she lets herself cry. But it isn't for Matt or the family, it's for the years she lost, squeezing herself into spaces never meant for her. She wipes her face, steadies her breathing, and feels the faintest twinge of pride softening the raw edge. Downstairs, Matt is bombarded. His phone lights up with a flurry of texts from his mother, missed calls, escalating group chat notifications. How could Jasmine do this? The screens flash. What about appearances? What about the child? Even the baby senses something is off, her neediness spiking, and the confusion paints Matt's face with colors he's never had to name before. He's stuck between two worlds now, everyone demanding, nobody listening, and not one message asking what the woman who hosted, cooked, and absorbed the insults is feeling right now. Jasmine slips out to the porch and breathes in the night air, letting it clear the fog from her head. She tells herself, quiet, near silent, she is done living for anyone else's comfort. Her worth is not up for debate, not tonight, and not ever again. Boundaries form, invisible but real, the kind you protect from now on with every step you take. She imagines a new peace, maybe still lonely, maybe still hard, but one where the only approval that matters starts inside her own skin. Viewers walk away not with pity or rage, but with this quiet, pulsing belief: sometimes closure is not an apology or a second chance, but your own gentle refusal to ever accept less than you deserve. And if you wonder what comes next for Jasmine, or who learns from this break, you'll want to see exactly where her new story goes. You watched a family battle that didn't start on Thanksgiving and won't end with a single slammed door. This is what happens when toxic patterns slip from one generation to the next. When a parent's approval feels like oxygen and love turns into a test you keep failing. Jasmine tried diplomacy, compromise, and finally, silence. She found out the hard way there's no deal sweet enough to buy real belonging if someone else keeps moving the finish line. Matt thought he was keeping the peace, but ended up losing his partner and maybe even himself, because the price of harmony at home is too high when you have to trade in your dignity to pay it. If you ever felt small at a crowded dinner table or caught yourself shrinking for someone else's comfort, you know exactly what Jasmine decided tonight. That quiet refusal to marry for someone's blessing is a lesson wrapped in heartbreak, but it's also the start of something new. Remember all those moments? A whispered dig, the letter behind closed doors, Matt's silence that cut deeper than any insult? The truth was always there, not just for Jasmine, but for anyone who's ever balanced survival with self-respect. She closed one door, but now every other choice is finally hers. And if you're still asking what comes next, you're not alone. Next up, another couple faces a family feud that makes this one look tame, and we'll see whether love or tradition wins out when the stakes are even higher. Don't miss the update on who stayed, who left, and what really happened after the camera stopped rolling.